Hey guys, how's it going? It's Darian from Mo Punch, and today I want to talk about some tips for getting good guitar sounds, at least the way I've been doing it for years. Um, Here is I'm using this for a speaker. So here's a speaker. What you want to do is target different sections of the cone. So what I did is I brought a SM57, Shure SM57, because they're relatively cheap and they sound decent. Some people hate them, but I use them on quite a few things. So what I do, some people mic it exactly in the middle of the cone. What I do is I mic it more of where this seam is. This is called the dust cap. Right where that seam is what I usually target. So the mic bisecting that seam is sort of my starting point. The reason I do that is partially for repeatability. So if somebody comes back in a week and you have to get the same guitar sound, do you know where you put the mic? I do, because I bisected it right there, right on that seam. That's like my marker. Now, that is not to say that if you move the mic, it might not sound better. I mean, what I do is I start there, and sometimes I'll come out this way. And this will start to get darker as you go toward this edge and brighter as you go to the center. The center point is going to be the brightest point. So if you start to come out this way and you like the way it sounds out here, make sure that you document that somehow. Sometimes we use tape on the grill, or sometimes we'll actually, make a marker, or like those China markers work well for that. You can get it off of the grill if you need to. So remember, this is the brightest point right here. Over here is going to be the darkest point. This you'll hear the mid-range start to shift this way. It'll get darker and it'll get kind of meatier in the mid-range a lot of times. And as you get way out here, it might sound horrible. So usually the sweet spot is somewhere in here. Some people like to angle the mic this way. I don't, partially also because of the repeatability thing. So if I'm not exactly sure what this angle is every time, you could try to document it as best you can. Some people have good success with that as a sound. For me, I like to go, okay, this is exactly perpendicular. So if I need to get that sound again, I can. I'm more of a better chance of getting it. As you start to get like this, I think this angle starts to get squirrely as you, if you just move it just a little bit, just a few degrees, maybe 5 or 10 degrees, it'll change the sound pretty dramatically. And I would encourage you to either have headphones on or maybe just press record and play and move this. You probably have to have somebody help you, but if you move this as you go, start moving it like this, start moving it like this, and you'll start to hear the differences, and you'll start to develop what you like as your sound. So everybody's different. You might not like what I like, but this is a good starting point, and then this is a good point of experimentation from here. Now you might get all crazy and do this. Another thing is, wherever the that screen is on your cabinet, you'll generally have a grill cloth. I don't put it right up against that grill cloth. I know people who do, and they get great sounds, but I like to get it about an inch or so away. And yeah, sometimes I'll measure that. But I find that sometimes this thing can rattle at high volumes. And so I like to give it a little bit of space. Also, the proximity effect is crazier the closer you get with a dynamic mic. And another thing is the volume of your amp itself. I mean, some people want to record at a volume that's almost like stage volume. But for me, that is problematic a lot of times, because it starts vibrating everything. It vibrates. Sometimes it vibrates stuff in the cabinet itself. Old Marshalls with metal handles, sometimes those handles will vibrate if they come loose. Like I said, it seems like this little grill thing will vibrate sometimes under high SPL. So be careful of that. Listen for any kind of rattling that you might hear, and start trying to nail it down. I've seen people tape this. I don't know if that's the best idea. I don't know if that affects the pickup pattern of the mic. I would say try turning the amp to a level where you don't hear that vibration if you're hearing like a rattle. And if you think it's in the actual speaker, if it sounds like the rattle's kind of far away, it's got an ambience to it, then start checking around the speakers. Also make sure there's nothing in the room that's rattling. Some people will have, like, open snares in the room or something. Now those snare wires will rattle and they might pick up depending on how loud your volume is compared to that rattle in the room. So you can just throw a towel over the snare, maybe like loosen the snares and throw a towel over it or something, or pull it out of the room, whatever is easier for you. And just be aware of different things rattling, light fixtures, all kinds of stuff. Sometimes fluorescent lights will create like a weird buzz that will get picked up. Yeah, so experiment, and I encourage you to post your own ideas in the comments. If you have a great technique that you feel like you can get a good sound that you like every single time, post that down below, and let's share techniques for everybody. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye. Oh, by the way, if you record at Mo Punch, stop by and have an apple. Mo Punch apples. Good.